Hey, if you own a remodeling business making anywhere between $1 to $3 million per year and you've been trying to grow for some time now, I know that it can get frustrating, especially with all the marketing agencies promising you the world and then at the end of the day under-delivering, different marketing companies, different pay-per appointment or pay-per-lead companies such as Angie's, Thumbtack, and especially now where there's a lot of people talking about AI, how AI can grow your business. So we decided to basically let down our curtain to show you exactly what we're doing for our clients, how we can achieve amazing growth in a short period of time without our clients selling their souls for it or like overworking or overpaying and at the end of the day just burning out. And the last thing that I want to do is I don't want to throw just numbers at you. What I wanted to do is I wanted to show you everything on a specific example of our current client, whose name is Keith. So Keith basically joined us and he was making about $1.5 million in annual revenue. And in 8 months, we have basically took his business from that to now making close to $5 million per year. And I know that this sounds super fake and impossible, but bear with me throughout the video and I'm gonna show you exactly how we achieved that, what exact systems we set in place, and what is he doing right now, meaning what is he working on right now versus what he was working on before. So shout out to my man Keith. Keith has been working with us for about 8 months now. And when he came to me, he was like a lot of you guys. He was basically running everything himself. He was stuck at $1.5 million per year with dog shit margins. He was only taking home about 18.6% in profit. And the whole reason for that was mainly because he was mainly getting projects like this. You know, kitchens that are not really that good. They're not that super profitable. And his main issue was that, you know, he didn't have a lot of service, so he had to have a lot of in-house crews. Then he also had inconsistent project acquisition due to him relying only on referrals. His revenue was really well when referrals were coming in. During slow seasons, his revenue dropped by almost 70%. He didn't have any consistency, he didn't have any predictability, and this made it basically impossible for him to plan into the future, to know when he should bring on more people, when he should downsize, and when he should start actually building cash reserves. He didn't have any predictable or stable systems that could support his growth, meaning he was doing everything himself, and in case he would stop working or he would be sick or God forbid took a vacation, everything would fall apart. Which also brings us to his next issue. He was working 65 hours per week, burning out due to lack of results, and again, being heavily involved in day-to-day. So this is kind of a situation that Keith was in before we started working together. And as I said earlier, in 8 months, we achieved insane results. Now, I'm not gonna say that this is possible for everyone because Keith did a lot of work himself. He was hungry, he was being motivated. But if you feel like you're the same as Keith right now and that you want to grow, you feel that deep hunger, that deep drive towards growth, then this is most likely gonna work for you. So in 8 months of us working together, this is Keith's situation right now. So he went from being stuck at $1.5 million per year with 18% margins to opening up another location in New Jersey. He hired key people that took 30 hours off his shoulders, basically reducing his total work hours down from 65 to 30, meaning he actually stepped away from the business while the business kept on growing. And it's crazy because he actually stepped away from the business and got his business on a track to hit $5 million in 2026 and $10 million next year. So he also increased profit margins from 18.6 to now 33.8%. We basically not only tripled his revenue, but we also increased his profit margins. So the bottom line is he's working less, he's making more profit, and he grew his business to $5 million. Basically tripled it. And instead of him getting these jobs, what he started doing was he started focusing only on top and high-end clientele, meaning projects like this, which caused him to got better margins, more money with less projects, meaning less crews. You get the idea. So the question then behind this is how we actually do this, how we actually did this for him. And well, when it comes to your growth, you have to keep in mind that what most companies promise you nowadays, more appointments, or what you think you need more appointments, is just not true. Because if more appointments would be required to grow your business, then everyone would be at 10 million, 15 million, 20 million. Instead, what we do is we set clear expectations that appointments alone are not enough, and instead we started focusing on all three pillars that are actually required for a remodeling company to grow successfully. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break each and every single pillar down in details. So how it started with Keith is instead of him relying on referrals, what we actually did is we implemented a predictable and consistent flow of appointments. And how we did that is by running meta ads. Now, before you hop off this video or before you click away, I know that you might have tried meta in the past, or that you have worked with some kid in his basement and it didn't really work out. But let me explain what we did differently than what you have probably tried in the past, and then you can be the judge of it, if that makes sense. So instead of him waiting for referrals, we moved him away from referrals, and we did that by using meta. And nowadays, most companies are gonna run for you AI ads, picture ads, because this means less work for them. But instead, what we did is we started focusing on Keith's strong selling points, such as quality, reputation, basically just positioning him as the go-to company and leading with authority. And as you can see, instead of us using AI ads or picture ads or voiceover ads, what we did is we put him in front of the camera, meaning the whole ad side of the business was completely personalized to his company. He was in those ads, he was shooting ads with his clients, he was showcasing his projects, and then we also got in touch with some actors who recorded some of the ads for us. We edit them and make them look as they are the part of a company. And as you can see, if you compare this to what you have tried in the past, like most of you guys, you want to get kitchens worth 60, 70, 80, maybe even 100K. And in a single minute video ad, you can tell more than a picture can ever tell. Because when you're running picture ads, what someone gets from that ad is the headline, okay, I can get $1,000 off the kitchen, it's a limited time offer, and that's that. But in those video ads, what he actually did is he told them about his reputation, how long have they been in business, his warranties. He introduced them to his process, meaning personalized design. All of the things that a person who wants to spend 50, 60, 100K on a kitchen actually wants and needs to hear in order for them to even consider becoming a lead. And once we attracted those types of people who were looking to spend at least 50K on a kitchen, they got taken to a funnel, and on this funnel, this is where our qualification process begins. And to give you the idea how this funnel looks like, basically, it's a simple offer, and we basically lead with a lot of reviews, a lot of social proof. Because nowadays, if you don't have a lot of social proof, if you don't lead with reviews, testimonials, it's just not gonna work for you. And since we're optimizing for phone users, this is how the whole funnel looks like. So once someone clicked on the funnel, the first thing they saw was the offer, which is the most important part of the whole advertising. And then immediately they get bombarded with social proof, and then the form. See if they qualify, and then again, some sort of a social proof. So this is what they first saw once they clicked on the ad. Now, if you compare it to what you guys were using in the past, which was probably lead forms, meaning once they click on it, lead form will open up on Facebook, and that's pretty much it. You can see why someone who actually is looking to spend serious money on a kitchen would prefer this over just a simple lead form. And then if you scroll down, we also introduced a lot of his testimonials and also attached pictures of his projects. So when someone scrolls down, they also see a lot more proof than they would if they would just be using simple, if he would be using simple lead forms. And then below that, we introduced his guarantees, basically what his main strong selling points were. So the pricing was definitely one of his strongest selling points. Then he had insane warranties on cabinets, which was also a strong selling point for someone who wants to spend the lifetime in their kitchen. You can probably imagine why, a lifetime warranty, and they want to spend a lifetime in their kitchen, meaning that was the last time they needed to deal with their kitchen if they went with him. And then all in-house, meaning he had all his crews, he handled everything from plumbers, electricians, to people for countertops. He controlled everything, and the client didn't have to deal with multiple companies at once. And after that, we introduced people to his process. So when he gets an appointment and once someone wants to schedule an appointment, they already know what to expect beyond appointment number one. So if they get a quote and decide to go with him, they will get personalized design. After they approve of the design and the quote, the construction time begins, and then the final walkthrough. And we also prevented the most common objections, aka the most common and frequently asked questions. So if someone has any concerns regarding the trash, how long the project will take, will you be there every day until the project is completed, they can click on this, and we answered all of these questions beforehand, meaning gained even more trust because they saw him like he is different than other companies. And once someone clicked on this, they went through the whole funnel, they decided to become a lead. We also heavily pre-qualified his leads on front end, meaning with forms. So we disqualified anyone who doesn't own a home, who doesn't want to start within the next 90 days. So if anyone clicked 6 months or they just need a quote, they didn't even become a lead, meaning we didn't even waste his time with all of these people. And then we asked them for the address. People who don't want to give the address, they are not being serious in the first place. And like that, we got a lot of information up front, and so did they, right? So did they, meaning when he actually went out to someone's house, it almost felt like he's talking to a referral instead of just a cold lead or a stranger from the internet. And once someone came through to this funnel, become a lead, then two things has happened. We built out a CRM for him, so he had a complete overview and complete control over every lead. He knew exactly with who he needs to follow up with. He knew exactly how much money he has out in quotes, who he needs to pressure, who he needs to give time. And also, once a lead became a lead, we assigned a US-based sales agent onto his account who called that lead within 30 seconds and then pre-qualified them on the budget, to confirm the scope of the work, to confirm the intent before booking the appointment in, with all decision makers present at the appointment. If someone didn't have the budget, we didn't even book that appointment for him, meaning because he would only waste his time. If they didn't want to meet with all decision makers present, again, we didn't book an appointment because at the end of the day, he would only waste his time with unqualified, unserious people. And once we pre-qualified all the leads and booked only qualified leads onto his appointment, this is basically how his calendar looked like in a single week. He got a bunch of appointments. The only thing he needed to do at this point was to go out their house, pitch them on a remodel, see what it is that they're actually looking for, and basically close them. So now I've taken you through the whole pillar one, meaning appointments, right? And if you remember, your growth is made out of three pillars. So pillar one, pillar two, pillar three. And the first pillar for him was appointments. And now the pillar two, in most cases for remodeling companies, are sales. Because Keith here, he has only closed referrals. He has never closed anyone who didn't come from his referral network. He didn't have any experience with dealing with cold leads or leads from meta ads or Angie's. And if he would approach those leads if he would approach these leads that went through this process, the same as he would approach referrals, it wouldn't work for him. Again, because these people, they didn't know him beforehand, they didn't trust him, and they couldn't ask anyone about their experience beforehand. So how we fixed this, how we fixed his sales, is we took him through our in-house sales training. Basically, it's a training that taught him a process on how to close any lead on the appointment number 1. Meaning he didn't have to waste 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks following with the same lead in hopes that maybe they will close. Instead, what we did is we gave him a process with the step-by-step instructions on exactly what to do, meaning how to set the frame, how to look like at the appointment, what his mentality should be, how to sell the company, how to sell the product, how to price condition them. So at the end, when he delivers the price, they are not sticker shocked and they can actually think rationally and see the value in his remodel. And then how to handle all of these smoke screens and convert it into the one real objection inside the industry, which is always gonna be money. And then, again, how to handle that. And by us putting him through this process, what we did is not only we've increased his conversion rate on strangers and non-referral leads, but we also increased predictability, because the process that he learned is duplicatable. That's the way how it is designed, meaning once he understood the whole process, once he was closing at 30%, this is an actual screenshot of one of the months with him, he was closing at 30%, meaning that month he closed $322,000 only from us. Then he was ready to duplicate himself in sales and basically exit sales. And that's exactly what we did next. Once we took him through this process, and once he increased his conversion rate and increased predictability, meaning he knew how to sell to strangers, then he hired 2 sales reps. Okay, sales rep number 1, I actually don't have their pictures because it would be weird asking him, can you send me your sales reps pictures? And once he hired them, he didn't have to coach them, he didn't have to train them. The only thing that he did is he sent them through our training, the same training that he went through, and then the exact same thing has happened. We taught them how to sell, how to close people predictably, consistently, and then with that, we achieved that he basically exited the sales, and with him out of the sales, that means that he can allocate more time to focus on the business instead of being in the business. Because you as the owner, you can only get to a certain point. At one point, you will have to exit, otherwise you will just become your own bottleneck. And you as the owner, there are activities with more leverage that you should be doing once you get past 3 million, 4 million, and to 5 million. There are better things you should be doing, such as SOPs, hiring, firing, and basically just building out systems that can actually support the growth. And basically, this is the whole pillar 3. Everything that I've just told you about is our pillar 3 and the last thing we started focusing on with him. So once we started getting him more appointments, and once we taught him how to sell to people who are complete strangers and how to close them predictably, he actually already had a somewhat of a predictable acquisition system, meaning he didn't have to worry about referrals. He was closing deals whether someone referred a lead to him or not. And the last thing that we needed to do in order for his growth to be super fast, profitable, and sustainable is we needed to start focusing on ops, okay, on operations. And the way how we do this, now I'm not the one who coached him on operations and helped him build out the systems, because I don't have enough experience when it comes to systems building in the industry. I haven't actually built a company I haven't actually built a remodeling company, but that's why I have a guy who's helping you guys achieve that. So this over here is Bill. Bill has grown 6 companies to over $20 million per year inside the industry. He has sold 4 of them. He's still running 2 of them. So he was where most of you guys want to be on a much larger scale. So in Keith's case, what he started doing was he started joining coaching calls with Bill. And this is how the coaching calls basically looked. It's a Zoom call with all of our clients. And on those calls, you can actually ask questions regarding ops. If you have any problems when it comes to operations, team members, upholding the quality, margins, whatever, you can be here the same as Keith was. And for Keith, what he started doing to get him to $5 million per year was we started heavily focusing on building out SOPs, fixing his margins, and then building out systems. Because the last thing you want to happen is get to 5, 6, 7, 8, $10 million and not having healthy margins. Because it will be chaos. You would lose your shit, basically. Let me put it that way. You would lose your shit. You would lose a lot of cash. You will be bleeding, and as soon as you stop selling, you start bleeding money. So what we did was we started focusing on SOPs, such as quality control procedures or quality control SOPs. We fixed his margins, and then we started building out systems which would allow him to step away from the business and basically hire key people without him spending months on end training them. And with all of this combined, once we created SOPs, once we fixed his margins, once we took his margins from 18.6 to 33.8%, that means that at that point he was comfortable by with increasing his overhead. The only way how you should increase your overhead at that point is by you hiring full-time employees, aka key players, that will take off a lot of work from your shoulders and will also push the business into the right direction. And that's exactly what he did. So this right here is Javier. He is sales manager. He started coaching sales reps instead of him. So sales reps started closing even more. And with all of this, we have built an operation that runs without Keith being present, making him millions in annual revenue at 30 to 40% margin. And this is basically how your growth actually should look like. Because you've probably been on calls with agencies, with companies who told you, we'll only get you appointments and we'll get you to $5 million like this. But then once you started getting these appointments, you didn't really know how to close them, or something just kind of fell off. You didn't know whether it was the quality, whether it was you, or whether it's just the market. Something just fell off. And if you don't focus on all these 3 pillars at once, can you grow? Sure, don't get me wrong. If you only want to get more appointments, and if you only think that you need to get more appointments, you will grow. Okay, you will grow, but not in a way like Keith did. Okay, if you only want to get more appointments and you think that this will grow you to the next point, this will help you to get to the next point, it will. Don't get me wrong. But it won't happen in the next 8 months, but it will happen in the next 5 to 10 years. Because if you want to achieve rapid growth, you need to get sales reps, you need to put yourself out of the sales, and then eventually you need to exit day to day so you can focus on the business instead of being in the business. So that's pretty much how we helped Keith go from 1.5 to $5 million per year in 8 months. I hope you understand the importance of all of these 3 pillars, and hopefully you got some clarity on how you can actually grow. The main goal of these videos is for me to help you for free. Okay? If you want us to help you grow, there's a link in the description. You can check us out. But the whole purpose of these videos is to help you for free, right? Because I care about you. Obviously, I want you to become our client. And if I want you to become our client, I need to make you money first for free. But yeah, anyways, this is pretty much it. Now, the last thing that I want to do is I want you to show you his testimonial. 1 second. His testimonial. It's basically kind of long, so I'm gonna go over the most important things. This right here is me. This is Keith. Right now, I think that were
kitchens,
what happened with him
baths,
is that in the first
basements,
45 days, he
really
has close to
everything on the inside and
$120,000
outside
in
of the home.
sales. And
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome, Keith. Yeah,
it has
Keith
worked
is one of
really
our
fast
biggest
for him.
clients.
Again, I'm not saying this
So
will
Keith,
be you,
right
but
now,
it can
I
be
think
you
it's
if you're
about
willing to put in
45,
enough work,
43,
if you're
45
willing
days
to work
since
for your
everything
growth,
went
and if you
live.
understand
Could
that
you share,
sometimes growth
what
can
the
be
results were,
painful, and
where you
that
said?
sometimes growth requires you to do stuff that you haven't done before. So again, this is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go to my channel. I have a bunch of videos like this one, and yeah, hopefully we'll get to work together in the future. Yeah, that's it. Bye bye.